Hi, welcome to this course. This course is all about how to ice a cake nice and neat and how to not be frightened of icing a cake and just taking you through the very basics of why you want to even ice a cake in the first place, what sugar paste is, cake smoothers, you know, how to use your rolling pin, the right way to roll sugar paste out, how to ice cakes in 4 different styles, so just icing all in one, how to ice it in panels, how to wrap it around, how to do squares and rounds sort of thing. So it takes you through all these different steps and it's all very basic, beginner stuff, but you can see here once you learn the foundations to do a nice neat cake, it just makes your life so much easier in the future. So please enjoy this course. Okay, so welcome to this course. This is like a little beginner's course before we actually move on to doing the real sugar paste work. And I really just want to talk to you about, if you're a complete beginner, why do you want to use sugar paste? What is sugar paste? And why is there all different names for it in the world, and just why it's such a lovely product to work with. So sugar paste itself, I've been using sugar paste right from the beginning of my career, so going back to college. And but the person who taught me to make cakes couldn't buy sugar paste from the shops, Mrs. Young, Cecilia Young, and she had to make the sugar paste herself before she could actually start to ice cakes. So we're very lucky nowadays that we can just mainly buy it off the shelf. For most of us, in some countries you still have to make it, like in Pakistan, some parts of Africa, you know, some Asian countries, they just don't have any sugar paste, so they've got to make it. So most of us are very lucky that we don't have that problem. So sugar paste. Sugar paste is made of sugar, glycerin, glucose, a little bit of vegetable oil and water, and a few little E numbers added in there as well. So it's very basic ingredients to make sugar paste. You can make it yourself, but why waste that time, all that energy into making sugar paste when you can buy it off the shelf and you can concentrate on the actual art side of making the cakes. So sugar paste is also commonly known as fondant in different parts of the world as well. So just watch not get confused between the two products. In the UK, fondant, a UK fondant is the stuff that you'd make dip your donuts or your French fancies, or you could spread over top of cookies, even put on top of cupcakes. So it's a very liquid base that comes solid in a block, the same as sugar paste, but when you put it in the microwave with some water, it turns into more of a syrup than a paste, something that you can roll out. So that's sort of the background of sugar paste from that sort of point. Sugar paste comes in all different colours, all different textures, and all different strengths, and all different prices. So the sugar paste that we use commonly is Renshaw's sugar paste. But over the last 5 years, because the sugar craft became so popular and it's so in vogue, there's a lot of companies now starting to sort of cash in on the sugar paste I suppose war, and they're making all the different sugar pastes out there. So it's a bit of a minefield for a beginner. Just keeping it very simple, the Renshaw's sugar paste, mainly bought in the UK and Europe, is a good beginner sugar paste. It's not expensive, and it comes in all different colours, and you can ice the cakes. And this is what these have been covered with today, is the Renshaw's sugar paste. If you want to go a bit more advanced and a little more expensive, and you want to start doing tiers that are maybe extended, so maybe 2 or 3 cakes that are stacked and iced all in one, then you want to maybe move over to doing the sort of satinised sugar paste, the fonderific, the caramel sugar pastes, and they're all much stronger. They've got more strength, so you can roll it out and sort of spin it over your head and then wrap over a cake, and it still doesn't rip. Where this stuff is a bit more fragile. But from a beginner's point of view, you don't want to maybe go into that because you're talking maybe 2 or 3 times, sometimes 4 times more expensive than the stuff that I've used here. Okay, so that's the different colours and the different products of the sugar paste. So sugar paste, if you sort of wind right back to when I first started making cakes, it was a sponge cake with buttercream on it, or it was royal icing, and that was it finished. So it was very rough. It was quite nice. You could put the buttercream around the side of the cake, and you could put little chocolate curls or vermicelli round the side, and then pipe happy birthday and put some roses on top, which is more of a bakery style cake than a designer cake or something you want to be a bit more use a bit more imagination with. So sugar paste it allows you not only to ice cakes and do wedding cakes, but allows you to do teddy bears, carousel cakes, teddy bear cakes, modelling. There's so much things you can do with sugar paste, and that's the reason why you want to move over to using the sugar paste. With buttercream, there's a lot of things you can do with it, but you can't model, you can't make people from buttercream, you can't do skyscrapers from that. So that's why sugar paste is a good thing to work with. And quite often, when I first started doing teaching in Italy, that was one of the first places I taught, going back about 5 years now. The Italian public wanted a Louis Vuitton handbag cake, but they wanted it to be fresh cream and strawberries inside. So sometimes you've got to almost re-educate your customer, depending where you are in the world, and let them know that they can't have fresh cream and strawberries in a sugar paste cake if they want a handbag. They're going to have to go for a slightly firmer cake with ganache inside. You can still put strawberries in the cake if it's going to be for the next day, but definitely not fresh cream and sugar paste. I wouldn't recommend that too much. So what I'm going to take you through here is in this course is really just all the reasons why you want to use sugar paste, how it gives you a really nice, neat finish, and not to be frightened of it. I'll take you through all the things, how to recover from mistakes. If you went too far with a mistake, you have to just take it off and do it again, how we even take the sugar paste off the cake, and then right through to how to stack the cakes and finish them off. So it's really just the very, very fundamental reasons to use it, and all the good things and all the bad things that can happen while you're working with sugar paste, and then hopefully just make life a little bit easier when you come to use it. And it's really not for the professional. Sugar paste is for everyone. It does make your life so much easier, and once you get started with sugar paste, it's quite addictive, and you just want to do lots and lots of cakes after that. So please enjoy this course. Okay, so before we get started icing the cake, I just want to have a little chat about sugar paste itself. So as you can see here, I've got the Renshaw sugar paste. Now I've been using Renshaw sugar paste for as long as I can remember actually. I think maybe, oh my goodness, I don't know, 15, 18 years, something like that. I've been using it for a long time before I really got into doing cakes. It was the first product that I probably bought. And Renshaw's is just a good all-round sugar paste. The only problem with Renshaw's for icing wedding cakes is with the new products that are peeping their head up out the wood, so to speak, you're starting to realise actually the Renshaw's isn't the best for actually icing neat wedding cakes, especially if you've got an extended tiers. That's the tiers that are very tall. Maybe it's got like 3 cakes inside and it's all iced all in one. If you're going to do a cake similar to that, I'd recommend different brands. There's Satin Ice, there's the Karma sugar paste, there is Fonderific. So all these ones are much more stretchy and don't rip when they are stretched. They just keep their form and keep nice and smooth. The downside is they're 2 or 3 times, even 4 times the cost of the Regal Ice Renshaw's product. So if you can get away with using Renshaw's, try and get away with using it. I'm going to use it on this lesson. So what I want to do first of all is it's duck egg blue that I'm using. So it's one of those colours that's quite in trend just now. So I'm going to cut open here. I'm going to be using quite a lot of it. So just want to open it up and take it out of the packet. Okay, so once we've got it out of the packet, we just want to start to knead the sugar paste up and get it to a nice consistency. Now, if you're not familiar with sugar paste, and you hear people say fondant, it's the same product. So fondant is the American term, but not just America anymore. They use the term, in Australia and New Zealand, all these places, and it's just fondant is sugar paste. But in the UK, if it's a UK-based product and it says fondant, then there's another fondant which is what you use for dipping your French fancies and your donuts, etc., in like a bakery product rather than a cake designer product, and it's fondant that you warm up in the microwave. So you can buy that. So just watch not get it too mixed up. You'll know straight away because fondant for French fancies and donuts is very, very sticky, but it actually looks the same when you open the box. But you'll know straight away when you feel it. It's extremely sticky. So what I want to do before we start is we want to just prepare the sugar paste to roll out. So obviously you just can't roll it out when it's in a solid, when it's individual pieces like that. So you can either use icing sugar or corn flour, so that's cornstarch, or icing sugar, and you just want to dust the table. I'm going to bring them all together, and I just want to start softening the sugar paste up. Okay, so you can see there, just mixing it around, and it's almost like working with bread. I'm just folding it over, and I'm keeping it underneath smooth. It's just the top bit that I'm turning around, and then just keep working it. And people say, when do you know when it's ready? You know when it's ready when underneath looks smooth. Now, if I turn it over, look, it's smooth. So that's it ready. No, you don't have to do any more. That's it. Okay, so walk away from the sugar paste at that stage. Now you can see at the side there's a few lines there, but I'm going to sort of tuck them underneath, and there we go. Okay, so that's that softened up, as you see, nice and easy. So when we come back, we're going to get the rolling pin out and just show you how to nicely roll out the sugar paste. Okay, so that's me got the sugar paste all softened up. So what I want to now is just give it a little dust, some icing sugar on top, but don't put any more icing sugar on the table. That's enough, because you can get a wee bit too excited with icing sugar. Okay, so just make sure it's definitely got underneath. Then give it a little press down, just to get it started. Always lifting it over the excess icing sugar on the outside of the sugar paste there. So this big frame of icing sugar, use it up as you're working, okay? Now it's a round cake, so I'm going to try and work with a round finished piece. So roll back and forward, stop, lift, round the excess icing sugar back into the middle, just reshape, and then roll again. Always rolling in the same direction. Stop, I can lift it up again, over the, and you see the icing sugar starting to disappear as I'm using it all up, and then roll again. Now, it's getting to the size now where I want to use the rolling pin to lift it up. So if you just very gently lay it there, two hands, all the way over, turn your body, and then back down again, and then reshape and roll again. Okay, so over the rolling pin, down, and reshape again. Okay, over the rolling pin, and down. Okay, and you can see there, that's me got a nice piece of sugar paste rolled out, just in preparation to ice the cake. Now, once you rolled out, how do you know the thickness? Now, you can buy little rods that go down the side, so your rolling pin never goes any lower, and that gives you the idea. Or you can just do it by eye, and all I want to do is just cut a piece off the end, and that then allows me to see the thickness of the sugar paste. So if we look here, let's get the ruler out. So if we hold the sugar paste against the ruler, check the thickness. So that's bang on 5 millimeters, okay? So if it's 5 millimeters, that's actually ideal for icing a cake with the regalized sugar paste. If you go any lower than that with the regalized sugar paste, 4 is absolutely fine. 5 is the best one. If you go lower than 4, you've got a chance that it's going to rip when you ice the cake. Okay, so 4 being the minimum and 6 being the maximum size for this. So this is now ready to ice the cake. Okay, so now we're going to move on to icing the cake. Now, I've rolled this big piece out just as the demonstration piece, but how do you know how much to ice a cake with? I always recommend using more than what you need to ice a cake, so always just increase it by a third at least, okay? Now, once I've rolled out how much do I need, use your rolling pin, make sure you've got a big enough piece, should I say. So there, across to there, and then down about there. Now I know, look there, I've got plenty of sugar paste to ice the cake. So I've got room there just to sort of trim a little bit off, just because I've got a wee bit too much there. So there we go. So I can take that off and just place that out of the way. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I just want to give it a smooth to make sure it's nice and smooth and it's not dried out. And then I want to lay the rolling pin in the middle, lift the sugar paste up. Okay, and I want to go across the cake and just gently roll it across. Now remember, look there, I'm rolling across and then down like that. Okay, so if I bring that across, you can see I've got plenty of sugar paste around here. Now what I'm doing is I'm talking and I'm not icing the cake, and what's happening is it's going to start to dry and dry around the sides. Now you don't want that to happen, so you've got to be very fast. If the doorbell goes, the phone rings, you have to ignore it, okay? I'm taking a risk just talking here. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking to see if there's any big air bubbles on top, which there is. So I'm just going to lift the sugar paste up and try and brush the air out. Okay, there we are. Once I've done that, I want to open the pleats. So you can see a big pleat here, I want to open up, open up, open up. Once you've done that, your pinky and your first finger, I want you to go round and very softly just attach the sugar paste on. That's it. Okay, so that's it then attached. So that's nice and smooth. And then simply all we've got to do is attach the bottom bit. So you can see I've got 3 pleats there. If I just work from the bottom, and all I'm doing is just rubbing it in. Okay, so there, 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 and then in, like that. Okay, the same on the other side, there's 2 there. So I'm rubbing at the bottom, and then in. So here and here, open up, rub, rub, and then in. So finish off, I've got that one there, open that up, and then just want to go back and forward and just warm the whole cake up. I can feel there's a huge air bubble in there, so that's good. I get to show you how to get rid of an air bubble. Okay, so that's fine. So once I've done that, well then the first thing we've got to do is get rid of the excess sugar paste, because we don't want to waste that. That can get used for another cake. So what I've got here is the cake smoothers. We've got a side smoother and an all-rounder smoother. So the side one, how it says, is for the side, and that's got a flat edge, okay? So what I'm using is the very end point here to draw a line around the bottom of the cake, and that tells me where to trim off the excess. Okay, and then just get a clean knife, pop it on there, and I'm just cutting round like that. Okay, take off the excess sugar paste. Now when you take that off, just check, see if there's any dirty bits. It should be clean. Yep, it's not bad, there's a wee dirty bit there, but the rest's fine. So I just want to scrap, mix it all together, and mix it with this stuff here, because that's all good stuff as well. And then you want to pop that in a food bag, which I don't actually have on the table. So my lovely assistant is just about to get me one. Thank you. Okay, and then that just keeps it nice and fresh. Okay. Right, okay, so on to the finishing off of the icing of the cake. So I'm going to get this smoother, and I want to just have a little smooth on top. Okay, that feels good. Now there's an air bubble there, so this is going to be one of these cakes that's full of air bubbles. So I'm going to put the pin in, bring it back out, and give it a rub. Now that I brought this back out, you can see it's covered, well you can't see, but it's covered in chocolate. So I want to get a cloth here. And I'm going to clean the needle every time, so make sure it's nice and clean and dry, okay? So every time you put it in, bring it back out, clean it. So now that's we've got rid of the air bubble on top. So I'm going to get the smoother, always lift the smoother and give it a clean. So you put it down, just in case you get any marks on it. And I want to go around the side, and as I'm going around the side, I'm looking to make it nice and smooth, and also looking to see if there's any more air bubbles. So there's a big one there. So the same thing again, so in at an angle, and then just lift it back out. Again, there's chocolate on the end, so I want to just give it a little wipe. And then I'm just going to get rid of that air bubble. There we go. And I've got a bit of excess sugar paste there. Okay, oops, so smooth it on again. So just going round and just looking to get nice and smooth, and there's that other big air bubble. I knew there was 2. So again, back in again. And then, yeah, there we go. And look how nice and smooth the cake is already. I've had to do hardly any work with it at all, and that's actually smoothed. Okay, so you can see the benefit of using the ganache. It just gives a lovely smooth finish. Now, I do want to get the cake a little bit sharper than that. It's just a little bit too rounded for my liking. But it's almost there. I'm not really wanting to get this cake to be mega sharp. I just want to give it a little bit more of a sharper finish. So I'm going to use the 2 smoothers. Okay, and you can leave it on its side. And all I want to do is I'm just going round and I'm just smoothing the sides, just trying to sharpen up ever so slightly. Okay, so just keep working round. And you can see that roundedness is just going away. And it's still got a slight round, like a sort of chamfered edge, but not too much. Okay, just keep working. So you could do this all day, so you've got to learn when to stop. So you can see that I'm just really clapping the sugar paste on top against the white, smoothing like this, and this one's then smoothing it off. If you really want to get sharp, you can lift the 2 up to get really sharp, but we're not going to go into that today, okay? Okay, so once I'm happy with that, I just want to go around very softly and make sure it looks nice and smooth. And there we go, and that's just got a nice duck egg blue iced cake. Okay, so I'm now going to show you how to ice a cake in panels. So over here is some Regal Ice Renshaw's ivory sugar paste, and all I want to do is just roll it out to about 4mm in thickness. Now, the larger the piece that you can roll out, the better, because then you can get it all iced in panels in one shot. But I don't think I've got enough here to do it all, but enough to get started. Okay, so there we go. So that's that rolled out. Just check the size at the side there. This is about 4mm in thickness, so that's ideal. Okay, so the first piece that we want to cut, so I'm just going to, this feels a bit thick at that side, so. So what I want to do is just mark a line across there and down there. And I measure the top, so it's 1 knife by 1 knife, so I want to make it slightly larger by, okay, and I just want to lift this piece up, take it over to the cake and just lift it and place it on, like so. Okay, so once you've got that on, just get your smoother and give it a smooth off. Now, it would be a good idea just to put a bag over this excess sugar paste if you're not using it, so it doesn't dry out. So hold the knife against the cake and you're cutting off in one nice, clean, sharp pull, like so. And I just want to get a little tissue just to keep your knife clean. Okay, and then the same thing again. And just working your way around the cake. Like that. Okay, so there we go. So that's just got the top done. Just keep that out of the way, we can fix that later. Just make sure you've got no ganache. And then what we want to do is ice 2 opposite ends. Okay, so a little bit of water down there first of all, just on the sugar paste. And what we're doing is looking to the same thing, so 1 cake, 1 knife by that much. So there we go, so just got enough and no more to ice one of the panels. So I want to lift this piece up, hang it against the side of the cake, flop it over the top, get your side smoother, and just pat that against there and smooth on. Okay, turn it around and do the exact same on the other side. So let's see, so there's one knife there, so that's fine, so that's big enough. So I can go all the way along there. And then let's see, so there we are. Okay, so again, cut there. Lift this piece up, across the cake, and on, like so. Okay, side smoother onto the cake, smooth back and forward. And you can see how lovely and smooth that looks very, very quickly. Okay, let's just take that off there. And now what I want to do is get the knife. Again, make sure it's clean. Just rub against that top panel just to make sure it's definitely stuck on. And then you want to get a clean knife, lift it up, get to lean against the cake, and you want to just pull across like that. Now you can see when I do that, it's almost blending that join in. Just watch it get the ganache. And you can see there how lovely and smooth and look how sharp that looks. And you can hardly see the join. Okay, so if you're looking for a nice box, I do prefer doing it this way. Okay, so while the cake's around this side, I may as well just do the top bit again. So lift it up, knife on, make sure you lean against the cake and cut right across. Oops, like that. Okay, so you can see there's a little gap there, so I'm just going to bring that together. And then as well, smooth back and forward. And again, nice and smooth, and a nice sharp clean join on there like that. Okay, so then I want to get the knife and trim down the sides. So knife on and straight down, lean against the cake all the time and away. Just clean the knife. And the same the other side. Now there's not much to hold on to this side, so I'm just going to go down like that. Just watch you don't get too much chocolate everywhere, because I'm certainly getting it everywhere. And then down the side. And there we go. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm just going to get a clean bit of tissue. Okay, so just wipe your hands, clean the knife. Okay, and then let's get on the next two panels. So it looks like I might just have enough actually. So some clean water, and then water up there and there. And the same the other side. Okay, there we are. There you go. Okay, so let's just check the size. So about there. So it looks like I've just got enough there, that was a bit of luck. Okay, so let's just release the sugar paste. Okay, again, side of the cake. Now you can see there I've made a little faux pas there, which is a bit silly of me. So because the cake's got the side panels on, the cake's a little bit longer. So I just need to put a little bit of icing sugar on the table and slightly stretch the length. So just lay that down there and just give it a little roll. And then there, no problem at all. Okay, and the same on the other side. Okay, and that's that done. Okay, so clean the knife and just be very careful just to try and get a nice neat edge. Just give it a wee smooth. Okay, so again hold the knife against the cake and pull the sugar paste up, across, and just making sure that's definitely smooth. on down the sides. So you're always pushing the knife against the cake and away from the edge, and that just gives you that nice flush finish. So again, make sure it's stuck down. There we go. And then the same on the other side. Okay, just give it a good rub. And then down the side. And there we go, and that's just got the cake iced. So you can see there, it just helps to get that nice, gives you that nice box effect from the cake, and excellent for doing a Jimmy Choo, sort of shoebox, not a Jimmy Choo, a shoebox, doing an exploding parcel, doing a kid's play box, like toy box, doing ABC blocks, that sort of thing. Obviously you just hide the edges then with stripes of coloured wood or whatever down the bottom there. Okay, so there we go. So that's just got an iced cube. Okay, so we're going to move on to icing the square cake. So you can see here I've got an 8-inch square cake with the ganache, and I'm going to cover it with a classic ivory sugar paste. Okay, so the ivory celebration colour. So this is Regal Ice Renshaw's sugar paste. Now, I'm going to use this one for this tutorial just because it's the easiest to get hold of, in the UK anyway. But for square cakes, I probably would try and recommend using Satin Ice, the Karma or the Fonderific, just to try and get your edges, because what happens is sometimes it'll actually crack on the edges, especially this stuff because it's so soft. Okay, and it just rips very easily. So if you can't afford to go up the price of the sugar paste for square cakes, then definitely do it. But I'll do it with this one just to show you can do it, but it is easier with the other stuff. Okay, so so just give your table a little dust. Soften up your sugar paste. Okay, press down. Okay, so you've got to work relatively fast. We're trying to keep a squarish shape, but it's not a huge problem if it's not square. So just roll out, back and forward, same direction. Use the rolling pin if you want to flip it and turn it. Put it down, reshape it again. Now the reason why I'm saying work fast is just that you don't want the sugar paste to dry too quickly. So you're looking to roll it down again between 4mm and 6mm. With the Regal Ice. So you can see there I'm just keeping that square shape now, and I think that's me down to the right thickness. Okay, so let's just trim a little bit off the side there. That's fine, so that's 5mm in thickness, so I'm going to go with the 5, so in between. Okay, so give it a smooth. Check to make sure you've got enough sugar paste, so 1 across there, 2 down, there we are. So you can see there, just enough there. Okay, so make sure it's nice and smooth. Rolling pin in the middle, lift it up, over, onto the cake, and just roll that over and down. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is check for air bubbles. Check to make sure your hand's not got ganache on it. Okay, so that's fine. I want to open the pleats. Okay, so just check again for air, that's fine. And I want to just go round and just seal the cake around the sides. Okay, now once you've done that, just make sure there's no dry bits. And then the first thing I want to do is just go right into the edge and ice down. So pull the sugar paste against the cake and smooth. Okay, and just making sure you get that nice smooth edge there. Okay, on to the next one, and smooth it in. Just make sure you get a smooth edge and turn round, okay? Same thing again, so lift it up and pull it in. And this one as well, so lift it up. And see, I'm brushing up the way. Okay, there we are. Okay, so that's the most difficult part over and done with. We've got the edge on, we've got down the sides, and then it's a case of just getting the rest of the sugar paste against the cake. So this bit here, I just want to open up the pleats and just smooth them in, but you can see how easily that is. And just turn it round. Okay, open up the pleats and smooth in. But you can see it's already done it for you. So open up and just smooth in. Again, this one's pretty much done. Okay, so 2 hands, and just go back and forward, just rubbing the top and the sides, just warming it up. There we go, and then change direction. Again, just back and forward. There we go. So that's the big stressful part over and done with. And then what I want to then do is go round and take off the excess. So I'm just using the smoother as a line, a gauge to mark off where the excess sugar paste is. Then get your knife, put the knife in the inside line and just trim around. There we are. So let's just take off the excess, make sure there's no chocolate on it. Should be relatively clean. Yep, that's fine. So just mix that up. And you can see there how smooth the cake looks already. Again, the benefit of using ganache. What we want to do is just give it a little bit more of a smooth, a little bit more of a sharpen up. Okay, so the first thing we want to check for air bubbles. So let's just fill on top. There's a big one there. So let's just get a tissue. Okay, so just in there. Okay, so give it a little smooth. Okay, so then what I want to do is for the sides, I'm going to slightly just do that and just to try and straighten the sides up and then just give it a little rub, okay? And a little rub. Okay, then move on to the side smoother. Okay, and then just check the sides, just give it a little smooth. And we're just checking to see if there's any air bubbles. So just don't put too much pressure on that edge at all, because you want to keep it relatively sharp. Okay, and the sides. There we are. Okay, so that's the cake now smoothed. Now if we want to just make it a little bit sharper, using the 2 smoothers, and we're just clapping it together. Just a little bit higher, you can lift the smoother up. And just round the sides. Okay. So just clapping one smoother against the other one, and then we can put a bit more pressure when we do that, and then back on again. Okay, so then just go back round and very lightly just make sure that you've not lost your straight line. So I'm very gentle when I do that. Okay, and then you can have a look at the sides, the edges. Now the edges actually aren't that bad, so I'm not going to do too much work on them. But what you can do is just bring your smoother to the end, like so, and just smooth up against, like that, and then do it the opposite way around. So on that side, and then like that. Okay, so to this one, so put it on the end. Okay, and then do it the other way around. And you can see there, it just helps to get that sort of straight edge. And then the other way. Okay, so there we go. So you can see here we've got a nice square cake. You've got the nice straight edges going around there. It's not the perfectly sharp, thin, crisp stuff, but that's a bit more advanced. Today is really just showing you how to get a nicely iced cake. So hopefully that'll make life a little bit easier for you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to icing the cake. So what we've got here is some white Renshaw's white sugar paste professional stuff. And what I'm going to show you here is how to wrap the cake rather than ice it all in one, so we get a slightly sharper finish to the cake. So the way for this is what we want to do is we want to ice the cake with a disc, and then once we get the disc we then wrap the sugar paste around, and it's just a good way to get a really sharp finish on the cake. So what I want to do first of all is I'm going to just cut off half of this, so I don't need it all. Okay, and then just pop some icing sugar down. Now no one's going to see the top because it's going to be iced with a lid. So you know, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's smooth. Okay, so if you get some ganache on it, doesn't matter. Oh look, and straight away I've got a mark. Okay. Okay, so just roll it out. Okay, it doesn't have to be too thick, so you can go a little thinner because there's going to be another layer of sugar paste on top. Okay, so there you go, so it's about sort of 3.5 mils in thickness. Okay, let's just check the size. So it's 2 knives, 2 knives, that's fine, or you can use your rolling pin. It's the size of the rolling pin, so I've got plenty there. So I'm just going to trim off the excess. Give it a little smooth, lift it up, place it on, there we are. Okay, so just smooth the top. Feels very thin, so I don't feel any air bubbles there, so I'm just going to give it a smooth on. I can feel one now, so just lift it up, there we go. Oh, there's one there as well. Another one. Okay, then you want to get your knife. Now make sure the blade's clean, so I'm just going to give it a little wipe. And all I want to do is just pop the knife underneath the cake. And I'm going to cut round, just pulling the sugar paste away as you cut. And you can see how nice and sharp a finish I get there. So knife onto the side of the cake, oops. There we are. Just keep pulling that away. As long as you lean against the cake a little bit, you can see I get quite a lot of ganache on the sugar paste, but it's not wasted. We can still save most of it. And there we go. So that's the top of the cake iced. So that's good. Now the sugar paste that I've cut off, that's covered in ganache, I can just bring that over and just trim off whatever's dirty and chuck that in the bin. so I can keep this bit here and then just get rid of the rest, so I've not got as much waste. Okay, so that's that iced, and that's that done. So when I come back, so I'm going to quick tidy up, we'll then continue and then finish the side of the cake. Okay, so now we're going to move on to wrapping around the side of the cake. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get a piece of ribbon and just measure the circumference. There we go, so there's how much I need. Now I'm just going to get a pair of scissors and just cut that. Okay, so I know, or you can get a piece of string. That seems a bit luxurious when I think about it using a ribbon, but there we are. So that's how long the piece is. It's quite surprising when you see it laid down how long you actually need to cover this cake. And then what I want to do is get some glue or just some water, and I want to just go around the side. Oops. And just wet the sugar paste. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to move this out of the way just for a second. Okay, I'm going to get the softened sugar paste. I want to soften it up. There we go. Plenty of sugar. And this time, obviously, we're going to be rolling out a longer piece. So if you start off and then turn it, and you're actually starting to make it go long. Lift it up, back down, and then press it in, and then continue to roll in the same direction. Once you get to a piece this size, just get the icing sugar, go down the weight, and then lift it up over. Okay, and I'm just going to push it in again. Okay, I'm just going to give it a little quick roll. And then you've really just got to roll back and forward. So obviously if you're doing this in the house, you're going to make sure you've got plenty of space to do this. Okay, let's just check the size. So you can see there, still a couple of inches or 5 centimeters or whatever. Okay. Oops. Okay, so let's check again. So plenty now. Okay. Now I just want to try and make sure it's the same thickness, so I'm going to roll this way just a few times just to see if I can get the same thickness. Okay, that feels good. Okay, smooth back and forward. Now, when you do wrap it around the side this one, I generally do like it a little bit thicker. It's just a little bit easier to wrap once you put it on the cake. Okay, so let's just check the thickness. Where's my knife gone? Okay, so now you can see they've got a bit of an inconsistency. So this end's really thick, and down here is quite thin. So I'm going to just make this side a little bit thinner. So I want to lift it up. There we go. That feels better. Okay, then we want to bring the cake across. Okay, I'm going to place the cake here. Check the height. So you can see there, I want to make it a little bit taller. There we go, so I've got plenty of sugar paste. And then trim it to size, because you don't want to pick up too much. So there we go there, so. Okay, that's fine. Once we've done that, I want you to then just put some icing sugar on the other part of the table. I want you to lift this piece up. Place it down there, okay? So bring this across to here. And the idea is we're going to put our hand underneath the sugar paste and we're going to wrap it towards ourselves. Okay, so let's just pull that up there a bit more space. Okay, so pop your hand underneath piece, and then all I want to do is then flip it up and then round. Just leave that one alone, bring this one round. Ganache in my hand, there we are, wipe it on the trousers. And then you can see there, very simply, I just have to lift this piece up. I've got loads there to get it on there, okay? Now once that's on there, I want to then put the knife through the two pieces, all the way up. And that should just give me a nice edge to put the two together. Okay, there we are. So I've got all that spare sugar paste. Okay, so let's have a look around, make sure we're happy with it. Yep, that looks fine, a wee mark there, but don't worry about that. So before I do anything else, I want to get the side smoother. I just want to go around the cake. Nice and smooth. Blending together. If they don't blend together well, just put a little bit of water in. There we are, so there we go, so that's me got the cake smooth, and then all I want to do is make sure I've got a clean knife. Lift up, and I just want to go against the cake, and I'm trying to cut away that excess sugar paste. Now you can see I've not went close enough to the cake, so I need to be a bit closer. Okay, so just cut and put and lift. That's better. So just go back, smooth it off. Make sure you're keeping that nice sharp edge. There we are. So once that's done, just go around and make sure you take any of the rough edges away. Just rub them there. Okay. Get rid of that scrap sugar paste. And I just want to go around. You can just use your smoother and just make sure you're keeping that sharpness. Okay, there we are. So you can see there's definitely a little bit of chocolate there. And we've got the join here. The join's going to be hidden with a stripe, so it doesn't matter there. And then this bit here has got a little bit of ganache thrown through. But again, no one's going to see that because the top's going to be iced with the lid. So not to worry too much about that. You can just go around again if you want to just make sure you've definitely got the sharpness. A bit of OCD, but it doesn't matter. There we are. And that's just got the cake iced. Ready for the finished decoration. Okay, so just a little lesson here on how to fix cakes when you've been using sugar paste and you have some problems. The first common one is air bubbles, complete pain in the neck. Everyone gets them. So you can see here I've got an air bubble just on the side there. You want to get a pin tool or a needle and you want to put it at a slight angle, push it into the cake and then back out again. Now the problem is when you do that, you can bring if there's a different colour cake underneath, you can bring the chocolate out, but you just want to go back over the top, and you can see that the mark's almost pretty much blended away. Now always remember to clean your pin before you pop it back in again. Okay, so you can see they're taking the air bubble away, and that's them away, so that's good. Now the only problem with that is sometimes you'll be left a little mark, it's a little hole in the cake. Now, if you're going to be putting decoration obviously on the cake, then it doesn't matter, no one's going to see it. But if it's a completely contemporary side, there's no decoration, just very, very minimalist. Then what you do is you get a little bit of royal icing. Even if it's an ivory cake, you can still put white. Put a little dot of white royal icing and just wipe it off with your finger. Okay, you can always dip it in a little bit of vodka or alcohol and wipe it off. And then that should get rid of the mark. Okay, it should be pretty much blended away. Other problems that you can have, for instance, if you do have a mark in your cake, so if I just sort of mark the cake like that, so you come in and for some unknown reason there's a mark on the side of the cake, there is a way to fix such a large one. If it does happen when it's just freshly made, sometimes you can actually smooth it away. So if you just keep on rubbing over and over, Just let your hand warm up. Sometimes if your hand's cold, just rub your hands and warm them up. And that just helps to add heat. And you can see there, slowly but surely, the mark's starting to disappear. And you can see there, that's it, pretty much gone. And there's a tiny little mark left, and then the same thing again, get some royal icing, pipe it in, and then just wipe it away, and you should be left with no mark there. Always, it's a black cake or a red cake, not so easy. You're going to have to either make royal icing up to match to hide it, or take the panel off, or just strip the whole cake back and do it again. Now, the other thing is up the top here, when I iced the top of this cake, there was actually a little piece of hard sugar. Now, that happens sometimes with the fondants and the sugar paste, and you get little hard bits of sugar. So you can see there, hard bit of sugar. You don't want that on top of your cake, so it's going to be crunchy. Now, you can see the same thing again there. You've got this big hole on top. Now, it is quite big, but we can do the same thing again. We can keep rubbing back and forward until it's gone. Fill it with royal icing. Alternatively, obviously, if this cake's going to have a lid on it, like a shoebox, then don't worry, no one's going to see it anyway. Or what we can do is get a little bit of sugar paste and fill it with a little bit of sugar paste. So if I get a sugar paste over, and then I wet just a paintbrush and just wet the surface around the area, just that area alone, not the whole cake. And then just get a small piece of sugar paste, and then just fill that hole there, like so. Once you've filled it, just wet your finger and massage that area. And there we go, and that's it gone, okay? And then just get a little bit of dry tissue paper to dry that off. Now, it's quite wet up there. Now, if you're worried about it marking too much, if you just sprinkle some icing sugar on top and just rub that in, and it just dries the cake off very quickly and hopefully doesn't leave a mark. Now, you can still see it a little bit, but it's still, at least the hole's gone, okay? So if it's the end of the world and you haven't got time to fix it, then you can see that at least it's plugged the mark. And of course, then you could put a flower or a daisy or a star or a person or something on there, tie it around, strip it back all the time. If you think you're doing lots of cakes and you get lots of disasters like this, if you keep on stripping it back and being a perfectionist, it's going to hold you back big still. If you know you can hide it and do it, if there's nothing else going there at all, then I would take the panel off and do it again, or re-ice the cake. Okay. Other problems that you get around the cake is maybe get some ganache come out there. Well, that's easy enough to fix. You just want to sort of scrape the knife along the bottom there, take that away, and get a little tissue and clean it up. So that's quite easy. This panel cake, you can see there's maybe not been enough water on the side. So again, just pop some water in and close it back over and smooth it off. That's easy enough. Now, another thing when people ice cakes is some people call it rhino skin, or just like rough skin on the cake. Now, it's quite hard to get rid of, and if you've got a mark on the side of your cake and you've got there, generally it doesn't matter how much times you rub, it's still going to stay there. So if that happens, again, the two options are you have to either take it off or actually do a thin layer of sugar paste over the top. It sounds quite sweet as there's too much sugar, but sometimes actually if you're having a problem cake, just ice it, leave it for a couple of hours, then actually put a very thin layer over the top of it, and that gets rid of all the rough edges. And if you've got any of the rhino skin, it'll get rid of the rhino skin also. Other common problems are the edges, especially square cakes. When you cover this bit here, it just rips off, and then it's a nightmare. And you see people just trying to smooth it back over again, and of course you see more marks, and it starts to go all funny like that, and you can see this sort of cake sort of comes through there like that. If that sort of thing happens, there's nothing you can do about it. You've got to just re-ice the cake. Same thing, either try and fix it back over, try and get it back to the square shape mark, use your smoothers to fix it off. Try and get it back over there, leave it to dry for a little while, then put a thin layer of sugar paste over the top. That's if it's an all-in-one iced cake. Alternatively, you need to take the sugar paste off. Okay, so the good thing is if you've got a very sort of busy cake, then that's good because you can just cover it up with lots of flowers and stars and decoration. If it's very contemporary and simple, then you're going to have to do a sort of re-ice or strip back. Now, if it comes to stripping back a cake, if I've got a cake that's been iced, maybe I had 2 days before, and I've got to strip it back, it can be quite difficult to get the panel off. So I'm going to demonstrate with this one how to take it off. Generally what I do is I cut it into sections. So I'll cut across there, I'll cut across there, and then I work from the middle out. So I try and attach get something to hold on to, and then pull it out, and you can see there it comes off quite easily. So if you do it in little panels, it's much easier. Now you can see that sugar paste hasn't got that much marks on it, so I should actually be able to save some of that sugar paste. Oops, taking some of the ganache off, that's not so good. Okay, off there like that, and you can see there, very, very easy to take the sugar paste off. Now because I've taken some of the ganache away, I will have to put some ganache back on there before I can re-ice that cake, just so it's nice and sharp. Okay, so once you take the top off there, just to let you know that on a round or a square cake, you can do the exact same as all on one iced. I still do the cross on top, and when I peel the panel off, peel it off, and it comes down the side and it comes off nicely. Okay, you can put your knife along here and down the side, so it just comes off in one panel. Sometimes you're lucky that happens. That came off quite nice that time. Sometimes it does come off in little bits, and you've really just got to keep using your knife just to keep on feeding the sugar paste off, like so. Okay, so hopefully that's give you some little tips and little helps on how to recover from sugar paste, but 9 times out of 10 you've got to redo it again. But there's some little ways of hiding it with flowers, etc. So hopefully that's been beneficial.